Latest on the Alex Murdaugh trial. The jury visited the scene of the double killings Wednesday before prosecutors made their closing argument. This morning, the defense is about to make their last pitch before deliberations. Eva Pilgrim is at the court in Walterboro, South Carolina. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, George. We are just hours away from the jury getting this case. After hundreds of hours of testimony, the end is near.
This morning, the defense's last chance to convince the jury Alex Murdaugh did not kill his wife and son after the prosecution closed with a passionate plea.
Fooled Maggie and Paul, too, and they paid for it with their lives. Don't let him fool you, too.
The jury listening to closing arguments after making a rare visit to the scene of the crime, walking the grounds near the dog kennels where Maggie and Paul Murdaugh were shot dead, bullet holes left behind, the property seemingly frozen in time. The state describing in chilling detail how they say Murdaugh first shot his son, then his wife with the family weapons.
She was running to her baby when she got mowed down by the only person that we have conclusive proof was at that scene just minutes before.
That proof, this video at the kennel putting Alex at the scene that night. Alex denying that was his voice for a year and a half, only admitting days ago for the first time it was him.
Why in the world would an innocent, reasonable father and husband lie about that?
The state saying after admitting it was him, Alex came up with a new story to fit the timeline.
This man was trying to sell you on an idea that he was at the kennels, that he jetted back, dozed off in the shortest nap in the history of the South. And then he got in his car just seconds after the supposed vigilantes that apparently are 5'2", that knew somehow that Paul and Maggie would be both at Moselle on the evening of June 7th between 8:44 and 9:02, that also knew that they would be alone at this time.
Prosecutors say after the murders, Alex immediately began fabricating an alibi. Phone records show he called Maggie, he called his father, he called Maggie again.
Why in the world, if he's calling her so much, if he's so busy and so concerned, why would he not just drive by the kennels?
The state arguing Murdaugh committed the murders because he was about to be exposed for his alleged financial crimes. So he killed his family to buy time and gain sympathy.
There is only one person who had the motive, who had the means, who had the opportunity to commit these crimes.
The prosecution pleading with jurors to convict Murdaugh.
On behalf of the state of South Carolina, I ask you to return a verdict of guilty against the defendant.
And the judge already saying if needed, the jury will deliberate through the weekend. Guys.
Okay, Eva, thanks. As our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. Dan, did the prosecution make the case?
Prosecution made an effective closing argument focusing on critical issues: timeline, lies, and opportunity. And I think that was effective. The problem was he went a little bit too long. It was a little bit redundant. There were reports of a juror, maybe two, one of them maybe nodding off, not paying attention, etc. That's never a good sign. But the bottom line is, big picture, I think the prosecutor generally accomplished what he needed to do.
So what do you expect from the defense today?
So the prosecution has proved what they say happened. Now the defense is going to say what wasn't proved. Right? So they're going to talk, I think, a lot about this sort of motive. The motive here is a bit of a mess, right? Well, it's in part because his financial world is crumbling on him, and he's trying to distract, but he's also trying to cover it up. And it's just a little bit muddled as to exactly why he would have killed his wife and his son. And I think you're going to hear the defense really try and poke holes in the weaknesses in the prosecution's case.
Jury's prepared to work through the weekend. We just heard that from Eva. When it does go to them, is this going to be a long deliberation?
Well, I'll put it this way. I would be surprised if it was a short one, right? We don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but I'd be stunned if they came back with a verdict within a day.
Why?
Because this is a complicated case. And even if you believe that Alex Murdaugh is guilty, there's still a lot of questions. And I think you're going to see at least a juror or two who say, could this guy have really killed his wife and son, who he seemed to have loved, with no background in having any violence towards them at all. So at the least, I think you're going to have a protracted deliberation.
So the longer the better for the defense?
Probably, but you never know for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll find out soon
Yep.
enough. All right, Dan, as always, thank you. Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.